So, guys, the intention for this Unstoppable Success series is to showcase some of the amazing women that I have the pleasure and the honor of working with. And today we have Miss Emma Van-Heusen in the house. She is a Facebook and business expert and also a super successful agency owner. We have worked together for a good number of years now. Absolutely hilarious and absolutely amazing to have witnessed your journey of success, Emma. So I'm really, really happy to be sharing this conversation with you here today. So welcome.
Thank you. It's an absolute honor to be here. Me and the frog next to me.
Loving the frog. Love the frog. Awesome. So tell me, first of all, like, how long have you actually been coaching for?
Well, I was thinking about this earlier, and it's going to be a couple of years, but I don't think I've actually thought of myself as a coach. You know, it's been a role that I guess since working with you, I came with one thing and ended up turning that into something else. And I think for me, I didn't intentionally become a coach. It sort of found me. And even now, you know, sometimes I find it quite strange to think of myself like that, although it's a role in my business that I absolutely love. But I guess in real terms, it's been probably 2 years. They've absolutely flown by.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it? It goes so quickly. So what did you actually do before? Because you've got such an epic story. I know, like, you're super passionate about working with women. So can you tell me a little bit about, like, the background and how you wound up where you are at right now?
Well, I always worked in advertising. That was my passion. Even from the age of 15, I knew that I wanted to work in advertising. And I even had it in mind which ad agency I wanted to work in. And I ended up getting my first ad job there. And loved it, spent years doing it, climbing the corporate ladder. I really enjoyed the hustle, the excitement, the creativity. And then after having my son, I just found that sort of job, as hundreds, or certainly hundreds of women that I've come in contact with, but I have no doubt globally, probably millions of women have come to the same conclusion that I had, which was that those corporate jobs and family just do not blend well together. So it was a sad realization that, one, I just couldn't make that job work anymore. And two, I also felt really old in that job. And I think that's to do with the type of industry that I was in. It's very much seen as a young person's game. Experience, I found, didn't really count for anything unless I wanted to go and run my own agency, which I didn't at the time, because I wanted to be able to spend more time with my little one. So I left. And through some real fortuitous opportunities, I ended up going onto a mentoring program with Facebook when I was sort of doing some consultancy work. And it really ignited my passion for advertising again. And I just saw the absolute power of Facebook ads and how I would be able to help businesses scale really quickly. So I decided, first of all, to run my own, like, boutique type agency where I would just take on a handful of clients. I would run ad campaigns for them. It was something I could fit around my family. And from that, I just started to come into contact with more and more people online who were wanting to know more about what I was doing. And I started to do these, like, ad hoc trainings for other mums who were, you know, ex lawyers, ex BBC types, ex marketing consultants, all these amazing women that had had children and just could not make their jobs work for them anymore. So I started to help them, you know, understand more about Facebook ads. And it sort of grew into, I do these odd, like, power hours with people. And then I started to think that there was such a demand for it. It's making me quite angry, actually, that I was seeing all these women just lowballing themselves on rubbish pay, being paid by the hour, and actually totally underutilizing the jobs that they were doing. It was so lowballing themselves. And I wanted to create something that could show these smart women that there were opportunities out there where they could run their own businesses, which didn't involve, you know, multi-level marketing or just stressing out working 4 days a week for a corporate. There were other options. And so when I started working with you, you helped me turn my idea and my sort of energy and partly fueled by anger, actually, at how the whole industry was treating women, into this program, which you then helped me beta test. You helped me create that amazing PayPal button. I'll never forget that button. and you know, and validate. Pardon?
That is the best PayPal button ever.
The best button, and that button made me, I think it was something like £20,000 over a weekend, which, you know, that I'd never in a million years imagined. I was only doing it to try and validate that I had an offer. And I remember you saying, oh, that you'll definitely get 15. And I was thinking, no, I won't. And I ended up with about 25 in the end. And it was amazing. And that just kind of, that spurred me on to realize that there are so many women like that out there. And I want to serve as many of them as I can. And I think, looking back, a lot of it was just a confidence issue that I had, thinking that I didn't, you know, I wasn't qualified enough, or how could I possibly teach people when I'm not a coach? And though that kind of thinking, you massively helped me switch and realize that I was capable of, you know, I was lowballing myself in a way by not doing that. And, you know, since then I've gone on to help 200 odd women. I'm selling out my next cohort now, and even got men who are now wanting a piece of the action, who felt the same. You know, this is not only women feeling like this in their jobs. So yeah, the future's looking really exciting now from where I started only a couple of years ago.
It's super cool. And I definitely think the confidence thing is like, it's something that I've certainly seen in you, and I've seen you transform and really like step into your power. You have a really beautiful gift of humility and humor as well. And sometimes it drives me mad because you don't actually see how amazing you are and how powerful you are. And that's one of the benefits of us working together, so that I can kick your ass every now and again and be like,
oh yeah, yeah, no, I know when you know that I'm hiding. I know when you can see it in my eyes, where you're just like, that's just like rational excuses that you're using to not step into your true potential. And I think that's the power of working with somebody like yourself, and also being in the group that you create, where there are other women in there who are on the same journey. And I suppose what I also found really fascinating about my perception, certainly of, and I don't think I've ever shared this with you, of, you know, being in groups with women, is actually when I was in corporate, working with women, I found extremely difficult. So, hang on a sec. Are you nearly done? Sorry, I can hear some noise in the background. So working, it's being with in corporate with women. I had a lot of very tricky encounters with women, both, you know, as bosses, as clients, as people on my team. And so I was a bit nervous about going into a program where I would be with other women, because as much as people often talk about supporting other women and lifting other women up, I had found previously to women actually being a source of pain and misery in my job. And I think, you know, when I look back now, it was just a lot of competition and feeling like we had to be an alpha female or alpha male. And coming into a group like yours where people were being genuinely nice and really supportive and no hidden agenda. And actually that whole vibe of that group like really helped to lift me and see one another genuinely celebrating other people's successes without there being a hidden agenda or any type of resentment or jealousy, which I guess is something that I have experienced previously. So to have that sort of experience of being amongst women was really liberating for me. And it also helped me realize that I could help women in that environment without it being competitive and, you know, some of the horrors that I'd experienced in corporate coming back. It was just nothing like it.
It's definitely interesting, isn't it? And I think the current conversation and the direction of like culture within entrepreneurship is very much around this collaboration over competition thing. And still, I feel like some of the communities and some of the experiences I hear other entrepreneurs having even is that it is still competitive in some spaces. So I feel really grateful to have created this space where we have amazing women with amazing attitudes, just like you, who come through and just all really do live what they speak and really do collaborate. Like we've had 8-figure joint ventures that have come out of the accelerator, which is wild, 6-figure collaborations, friendships, friendships that actually last and stand the test of time. So I think you're so right on that. And I also really want to honor you and really recognize and acknowledge the strength that you have in creating those communities for yourself and for your audience and your women too, because I literally witnessed you create this thing, which is like, Emma, it's amazing. Like, I want you to tell us like a little bit about what success you've created. So what success have you had? Obviously that PayPal button that created £20,000 overnight, which came from a random Zoom call on a Friday. Where I was like, does anyone need any extra help? Let's jump on. Okay, Emma, stop bullshitting yourself. Go and make a PayPal link, do a Facebook Live, and you're going to make some money. And you supported women really powerfully from then on in. What else have you actually created aside from that?
Well, it all started with creating a community. And I did that pretty much as soon as I started working with you. I think that's one of the first things you said that I needed to do. And I'd had massive resistance because I just felt like I wasn't special enough to have my own group. You know, I didn't know how to be a leader. And from day one of working with you, the first thing you asked me to create was said, you need to create a group, you know, you need to get that community feel. And actually the group sort of came really quick. And I think that was from you talking about, you know, the power of consistency and showing up and being visible and all the things that I knew I should be doing, you know, but I wasn't. And actually to have that accountability to being with you, working with you and in the group really spurred me on. One, I did the group thing. And so from there, I then started to add value. And so I think it was in the first 100 days of working with you was when I did my first 100K. And that was from understanding the power of community. I mean, I really, really get that now, that if you attract the right people, you know, you will be able to create things that these people want because you're attracting people like yourself and you know what you want and what isn't out there. So all I found I was doing was creating the products or the services that I wished I'd had when I needed them. And talking about the collaborations, you know, one of the things that I then brought into my program was collaborating with someone, the amazing Andrea, who I met on your program. And we are a real powerhouse together now. So she teaches on my programs. We're doing things together next year. We're going to do retreats.
Amazing.
So those programs have really built up now. And I think the reason why they work so well is being able to identify like underserved markets. And I know that is one of my strengths. I can see underserved markets, and I now understand how to deliver products against that. And I think the power of then working with other people within, the online group coaching space has been amazing for me. So that program I launch 3 times a year now, my Facebook Accelerator, 12-week program. I teach the skills and I teach the mindset, because I'm sure loads of people will have experienced this. You shell out all this money on a course, and actually at the end of it, it's like, oh, I've got another skill that I don't do anything with.
But you don't actually go and apply it.
Exactly, you have the information, whereas I'm about activation. I want you to take that skill and I want you to do something with it. Otherwise, you've wasted your money. And I'm very clear, the more I do this, the more I realize the types of people that I want. I don't want the Debbie Downers. I don't want the people that aren't prepared for change. Like, you need to know what you really, really want, because I will make you get that. I can help you get that, but you need to know that you want it. And I think a lot of people don't. And it's just understanding the drivers for people wanting things, and having that perception of what your audience want, I think is really important. And that's one of the things that working with you has helped me to really dial in on and create further programs. So, I've got my mastermind 12-month program that I now have as part of my Ascension model. And that's something that you and I have mapped out together. I have a membership, which hardly anyone's ever left, since I think I can count on one hand the amount of people that have left that program. And it's because I understand the power in community. And if you deliver value and people buy into you, and as long as you do your business with integrity, which is a massive thing in my business, and especially being in this online space, I have firsthand experienced other businesses and things with a lack of integrity. And, I realized that really runs through my veins. And I think that's what stacks up those people that will have longevity in their business against those that don't. And so from that, I just feel I've created the foundations of a business that I could really take anywhere now.
I totally agree with that. I think you've got something that is so strong and so robust that the foundation that the business is sitting on, you can literally continue to build, and that's what's going to allow you to scale. So I know that you have had amazing success for yourself. So more than $1 million in the sales. And you now actually teach at our retreats. So you're running your own retreats. You teach on our Unstoppable Success retreats. I'm so grateful that you teach our clients in the accelerator now after you having graduated. What would you say is like the one standout result that you are most proud of? And then what is like one standout client result that you've had that you're super proud of?
I guess my standout result is that probably almost on a daily basis, I receive messages from women whose lives I've changed. And I never thought that teaching someone how to do Facebook ads would have that kind of impact on them. And it really is like the Facebook ads is just, as we talked about, it's just the tool. But being able to mobilize women in the way that I have to run their own businesses, to be able to take their family on holiday, to allow their other halves to retire, like that just makes me spring out of bed every day to think that I can take someone from feeling like, what am I going to do? I don't know what I'm a smart woman and I don't know what to do with these skills because I cannot find a flexible job that isn't rubbish pay or isn't doing something really boring. And like, we don't want to, we've got so much about us and we don't have anywhere to put that. So I think that just collectively to have had to teach over 200 women, you know, and to have parties where we all come together and celebrate. Like I had a party not that long ago, literally a couple of weeks. People were flying in from all over the place for that. You know, they're flying in from abroad, from Scotland, from France. I've had people flying in from all parts of Europe. And I've got someone who's planning to come from New Zealand to the next one. So to realize that you do, you know, I've created a community where people will really put themselves out to want to meet in person is just amazing. So there isn't really one standout client. I think, you know, there are women who are now doing amazing things, whose husbands thank me, or whose life partners thank me.
Ripple effect that goes out far and wide.
Yeah, and that is I never imagined that I'd have that sort of impact, and that's more important than anything going forwards for my business, is to mobilize those women and men who have had good jobs and are, you know, old. God, you know, we're in our late 30s and 40s and we're old. And what can we do? And finding something to do with.
Didn't you say when we first talked, you were like, I felt like I was washed up.
Totally washed up. Yeah, I was like 38. I thought I was going out to pasture. It's like, what am I going to do? There's just nothing out there for me that doesn't involve putting on some crappy overall and sitting on a checkout. You've got to be joking. I'm not doing that. But what was I going to do? I didn't know. And that's really scary, you know, to feel like that. Especially if you've been very ambitious like that. Your ambition changes, but it doesn't often disappear. And it's a very lonely place to be when you're at home wondering what to do with yourself to have a purpose. Like, that's harsh.
It's actually transformational what you're creating. And one of the things I love about you is you make the Facebook ads and you make the teaching of digital marketing simple, and people can really grasp onto it, whether it's the messaging element or the niche element or actually the technical element that I can imagine a lot of people who come out of a corporate working environment or come out of being a full-time mum, they're a little bit apprehensive about. So there's these things that I notice that commonly stop people. Like, I hear a lot of women have fear around tech. I hear a lot of women, and I see it in our day-to-day, like they get stopped because of their money or their money mindset or their health, for example. And one of the things that I'm really passionate about researching and uncovering is what it is that commonly stops people and what it really takes to become unstoppable. So we're looking at that through like the books that I write, through this Unstoppable Success series, through the documentary that we're doing. What would you say on reflection is the one thing that previously stopped you?
I think I always wanted to have my own business. And I think what stopped me was that was always my dream over here. But what happened if I tried and it didn't work? Like, whilst it's always a dream, it sort of has some degree of possibility to it. But once you actually set the intention to go for it, I think I was frightened that if it didn't work, I wouldn't have that dream anymore. I wouldn't have that crutch to think one day I will run my own business, because I tried and it hadn't worked. And then I didn't even have that. So whilst that was in my back pocket, it was easier to keep it as a dream. which now I just think, what a waste, wasted
Can you
years.
imagine though? Can you imagine if you were still stuck there feeling that, and you'd wasted all of this time, you'd wasted these couple of years when you could have been helping all of these people in your amazing community and with your programs and your courses and your coaching, like, and then like with your family, like now you get to travel. You've been to like Fiji, you come to LA all of the time.
Yeah, yeah, and you know, my other half doesn't even work.
I know.
I mean,
so cool.
I'm not going to lie. When I told him I'd invested in your program, he wasn't high-fiving me. Because you know, and I always say this, like, if you can afford, you know, if you can comfortably part with the money, like, you need a coach because you need help. Like if I was rolling around a load of money, I wouldn't have been investing, would I? Because I would have had it all sorted. But the fact of the matter is that, you know, I knew I wasn't stupid. I know marketing, like I know what I should be doing, but I wasn't doing it. Like no matter how much I sat at my desk, I wasn't. And I think it was the fear of what happens if it doesn't work. How will I feel? You know, what will I do? What will I do? Whereas now I would just think, if I fail, I'll learn something from that and I'll just do something else. It's not like that's the end of the world. That's the only thing. And I think lots of people have, you know, and I had it myself, this kind of like either or thinking.
Yeah.
Like it's either A or it's B. And no, it isn't. It might be A and then it might be C and it might be D, E, and F. You just have to just keep on going. And that is what makes someone unstoppable, is that you build resilience, you accept failure, you learn from things that have gone right and wrong. And actually for me, you know, the whole thing about being unstoppable is not wanting to accept that you've reached your full potential, because I think you never can. Yeah. And it's about that drive to just want to see, like, how far can I push this? Like, how from where I was, like I don't want to stop, because I don't see any reason why I should. I might pivot or try different things, but being unstoppable is being driven to just see what you're really made of. And that's the difference between the people that I see who are really successful and those that aren't, is that there are ones with fire in their belly who are like, who am I? Like, what can I do if I allow myself to think I could do anything, rather than, oh, well, I'll just take to a spreadsheet and write down all the pros and cons of, or I'll just weigh up, like, should I do this program or not? And just getting deep down in the procrastination.
It's giving me chills. Like, the feeling of being unstoppable is so amazing. Like, for me, like, I feel it inside of my heart. I'm like, let's fucking go. Do you know what I mean? That's amazing.
And no breaks. Like, let's put our foot to the floor on this and just see what happens, because it's going to be epic, rather than staying where I am. Like, I want to have an exciting ride in my life. I don't want to just sit back, you know, thinking of all the things I could have done and didn't. And you can justify to the cows come home why you're not. You know, I did that for years. But deep down, you kind of know when you're lowballing yourself. And I think you're doing yourself and the people around you a massive disservice if you don't expand to see what you can really do when you let go of the outcome.
Really, really wise words. Like, it's not just yourself that you're doing a disservice to, but it's also your family and all of those other people that you're out here to help.
Yeah, like there's 200 women or more that I've taught, and the one man, you know, they wouldn't be doing their lives have transformed. And that would have been on me, that they were stuck where I was. Like, everyone needs to have an exciting path ahead of them, and just be prepared that you only might see the first 200 yards of that path, but it doesn't matter.
So true. So, so true. Like one of my favorite things, like you mentioned before, like about this ripple effect that goes out far and wide. Like I totally resonate with that. And I love things like, and I bet you get it too. I bet you see when people apply to work with you, they might say that one of their goals is to retire their husband. Like I'm looking at, like, for example, like you guys in the Unstoppable Elite, when you're like, one of my dreams is to go to Necker Island. Like those things that it might not be like, yes, obviously we'll grow you a 6-figure business or we'll grow you a 7-figure business. Like we're going to do that anyway. But what are the little things that are like really on your heart that really excite you and light you up, like retiring your husband or like coming to Necker? That I can be like, right, I'm going to figure that one out and I'm going to get them to come to Necker. So I'm so excited that's happening.
That invite to Necker, I thought it had been sent to the wrong person. I couldn't believe it.
I think I was joking.
I was so excited, but then it just brought up, oh my God, I literally am creating my own reality here. Like working with you has changed everything.
Yeah.
Everything from that one phone call, or the initial Skype call that we had. Now I'm just thinking, the world's really is my oyster. I've got my new business, which you're helping me with, which is kind of like, I'm keeping my existing one, but this is about pushing the boundaries of what's possible, building up something else. I don't think I'll ever really stop.
Hi, can you just give me 1 sec? I'm just on it. Yes, thanks.
I don't think the Necker, that's amazing. Teaching on your retreats is amazing. Like to be in that beautiful house in the hills and stand up and teach on a subject that I like, and I get passionate about, and be able to pass that knowledge on and see them transforming and having breakthroughs and just being able to share that experience. Those are the things that I never imagined was going to be me, especially not at my grand old age. I thought that those days were over. But the travel, that's just a massive thing for me, to be able to fly my son first class to Fiji, and spend a month hanging out there, and then come back to Los Angeles and be able to hang out there with him. Just the opportunities, the women that I now meet, like all those things are just possible things that at one stage I just would never ever have imagined would be me. From that one decision I made to pony up the money for something I knew I couldn't afford, but that I knew I needed, and made my money back in, I don't know, probably first month.
So good. Like I really celebrate your courage for making that decision, because not everybody does that. Like not everybody has the bravery to make that big, bold step. And it's like, when you do it, everything else then unfolds in front of you.
Yeah.
So massive.
I mean, and it's the objections, because I get this now, because I sell higher end programs, and the classic of I just need to go and talk to my other half about this. And it's like, well, if you think your other half is going to go, that Emma Van-Heusen, that sounds like money well spent. Of course they don't. Like, husbands are never gonna, or partners, very rarely and I'm speaking about my own, they do not go, that sounds like a brilliant idea, right? But I knew it was a brilliant idea, and that I had to do this rather selfishly for me. And I think there's a lot of power in deciding to invest money in yourself. And to a degree, I think you have to pony up a considerable amount of money to keep yourself accountable. Because the programs that I did, which is the odd, 247, 197, 147, you don't do it.
You don't give a shit.
You need to put skin in the game with this stuff. And that's what setting that intention is like. I am investing in me. And I felt very selfish doing that, because it was at the cost, I wouldn't have spent that money on a holiday, but I felt like perhaps I should have. But actually, they've been on full holidays this year, thanks to that investment. So that what I felt like was a selfish doing it for me. It's like, no, I wasn't. I was doing it for me, my family, and the 200 and plus women and their families who I've changed. That was what that money was about. And I would do it 10 times over. I mean, it's a no-brainer for me. And I thank you so much for that. I really do.
You are more than welcome. I thank you for who you are and for how you show up for yourself. And this journey is just amazing. And it's literally still just the start. What is coming up that you're excited about? So you've already created unstoppable success within yourself and your business. But what does the future look like?
I am creating a new business, which is in the online space, and it's going to be drawing on the other aspect. What I think you have made me realize is that actually, Facebook ads, when I built my business up and I started teaching, that kind of became my thing. Mm-hmm. But actually, I have a whole wealth of experience that I'm now drawing on in order to be able to unpick, like, how did I make that? How do I see these things? And it's all about branding and positioning and understanding your markets, understanding avatars, understanding how to build communities, understanding how to systemize stuff. Those are the things that have allowed me to have the success that I have, with you kind of like pushing me to my absolute limits of what I felt I could do, and then realizing there's more and there's more and there's more. So my new business is around packaging that up and teaching people, this is how you do this is how you do that, in bite-sized kind of like incremental blocks that you build on. And I'm still building out parts of it, but the excitement and the energy that I have for that, and looking at what's out there, and again understanding who's underserved, and like putting that thing right in front of them. And I'm so enjoying doing it all again. Like, some people have said, why are you bothering? And it's like, because that's my passion. That's because I love it. That's why I'm bothering. It's not like I'm bothered. I'm not bothering. It's just what I do. It's just who I am. And once that's built, I don't know, maybe, well, I don't know what, I'd love to speak. That's my thing. I want to speak as well. So
okay, done. Awesome. I'm
hoping that will be a big thing for me in 2020. Or maybe have my own comedy show. Who knows where this is.
Done for that as well. Anything is possible when you are.
Anything is possible, exactly.
So true. Well, thank you so much, Emma. Where can people find you?
They can find me at Emma Van-Heusen on Insta, and Facebook, same name, consulting agency, Emma Van-Heusen. I have a free group, amazing. Facebook Accelerators with Emma Van-Heusen, where I give loads of value, normally through riffy Facebook lives that are unplanned and go anywhere. But I love that. That's my style now, so I'm sticking with it. It's a formula that's working for me.
Good, amazing. Well, thank you so much for.
Thank you, Niyc Pidgeon.
More than welcome. And I will see you on Necker Island.
Yes, you most certainly will. In my boob tube and mini skirt, no less.
Okay, everything brave.
See you there.
Love it.
Bye.